Alright, welcome back. My name is David Armenta. I'm a Tucson realtor here in Tucson, Arizona. Alright, so this video is geared towards real estate agents. It's to help you with the purchase contract, right? So one of the first things you need to know about is how to write contracts, right? That's your bread and butter. If you don't know how to write contracts, then essentially you're not doing your job. So let's say you have a buyer. You went to go see a house. You already paid for your Supra, right? Access, which I believe it's like $22 per month or something like that. You also paid for your association membership, right? Which is, I don't know what it is now. It's probably like $1,000 or $700 a year, whatever, right? So you need to have those two things. And then you went and showed a house, right? So you're showing this house and the person likes it and they want to buy it. All right. So now you go home and you go to pr.transactiondesk.com. Your association of realtors will have this, or you know, they might have something else. But anyways, let's pull up an Arizona purchase contract, right? So you'll type in purchase contract. And there it is, right? So you got all these different ones. You got commercial. You got a checklist, which I really haven't used, but I guess it would be good if it's your first time. That way you can run through the checklist. So this makes sense. Residential income property addendum. You'll need that for 1 of 4 units. Let's see. This is for a lot, new home, but usually they have their own contracts anyway, so you just use theirs. I haven't used this, and I hope my dog doesn't go off like crazy. Anyways, all right. So we'll just create a standalone form. And if my dog starts barking, then we'll close the blinds for her. Okay, so here it is. This is for the buyer. Obviously, go through this, read it, understand it. This is going to be quick. This is just an overview, okay? You're going to have the buyer's name. And if it's going to be joint tenancy or they're married or something, then you put the second buyer, all right? Then the seller. And obviously seller 2 if you need be. Or if you don't know who they are, you eliminate this. And you just check this box. Alright, we're going real quick. This is obviously the address. Right, you put the numbers there. Usually this populates if it has an MLS listing number. You can import the data on the transaction desk, and most of these elements populate. But if it doesn't, you know, just do that. So the road and whatever it is, drive, right? Assessor's number you can get from the assessor's page. That'll be another video. Okay. City, county that you're in, and then the zip code. Legal description you can also get from the assessor's page or the tax assessor as well. Was it tax assessor? Oh, that's what's coming to mind. Then here's the purchase price. So, you know, you could do whatever you want there. If you're going to use FHA, it's 3.5%. Oh, whoa, hold on. I jumped the gun. Usually you want to do 1%, right? So what do? Almost half a mil. Or it is half a mil. So you do 1% usually. I've seen it where people do like, you know, $100 if it's like an investor, or, you know, the standard $1,000 if they really don't want to do the math. But I usually just do 1%. This is also really important too. You can lose contracts if your earnest money is really low. So something to be mindful about. You know, reach out to me and then we can discuss what the right amount of earnest money is. It's usually deposited into escrow. This is where the 3.5 or the 5% or whatever it is, right? So you got to have a pre-qual letter, and you got to mimic that. You got to replicate whatever the pre-qual letter says. That's what you got to put in here. If it's an FHA, if it's conventional, whatever it is, it goes there, right? So let's just say it's an FHA. So it'll be 3.5. 3.5 calculator. Running a little slow today. Let's try that one more time. Oh, maybe not. Okay. So if you already did, anyways, there we go. 550,000 times 3.5. Okay, so 1925. That goes there. Now you got to explain to your clients that it's really not 3.5 or 5% for those conventionals. So reach out to me and we'll discuss, right? Because the lender has fees as well, and then there's, the underwriting, and there's also escrow, right? And then usually you do the difference. So of the earnest money deposit, and then the purchase price. So there you go. That's what's going to be. Whoa. Wait, what happened there? Okay. So that's what's going to be funded by the lender at close of escrow, right, for an FHA. All right. So that was a quick and dirty. Reach out to me so we can go over it in detail, so I can prepare you to present this to the seller and your client. We usually do wires for the earnest money. However, I've seen personal check be a little bit more convenient because people handle checks more frequently, or it's just, it's you hold it in your hand and people like it, right? I prefer to do wire. It's a little bit more secure. But like I said, people do prefer to do personal checks. So it's deposited in escrow, broker's trust account if it was like a lease or if you had that set up. And then close of escrow is usually 45 days for an FHA. It can also be 30 days. Typically it's 45 days. Conventional and FHAs can be 30. What else? Cash is sooner. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right around there, right? I think I did the math right. Let's check that out. What do we got today? Oh, wait a minute. Today's the 2nd, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. And usually if it's closer to a Friday, I'll just put it on a Friday. Anyways, more on that later. Reach out to me with your questions so we can talk about it, discuss it more in detail. Usually properties have HOA addendums. If they don't, great. If you're selling a property, so the buyer contingency, right? Wait a minute, is it buyer contingency? I think so. Yeah, so like if you're selling a home, I might be discussing this incorrectly. Yeah, it is a buyer contingency. Okay. So if the buyer has a home that they're trying to sell, then you would need a buyer contingency because your buyer has a contingency to sell their home, right? It's very difficult to go under contract right now with that. More on that later. Please reach out to me so I can further discuss. Additional clause, we'll go over that in another video. This is for like places in Marana, domestic water wells, shared wells, lead-based paint. This you'll need if the property was built prior to 1978 or if there's known paint disclosure. Lead-based anything. This is a VA loan assumption, obviously what it says. That'll be in a different video. These two could go hand in hand. Oh, no, my bad. This is a septic. This is your septic tank. So they actually do go kind of hand in hand because usually these rural areas, they'll have, a shared well and they'll have the on-site septic tank. Seller financing, usually these areas do seller financing. That's another video. Short sale. Solar addendum, horrible. Let's just, well, unless you got a big family and you really need it, then it does make sense, right? It's a case-by-case basis. And then sometimes you have, like that 1 to 4 unit income property addendum. That'll go here, and then you'll write it out. And make sure there's templates for the signatures. So when you go to sign, you'll choose layouts, and you just type in like residential purchase contract, and then it'll populate, and then that'll help you out. Know if they're going to transfer what conveys, right? If all this stuff conveys, great. If the hot tub conveys too, great. If there's a car that needs to be conveyed, great. If there's a shed that's really not secured or something, a shed, write that in. Or sometime household goods, furniture. Just write in a description in there. You could say present at the time of listing. There you go. Make sure to put a period. You need periods. This is their financing section. And essentially it's saying it's contingent upon loan approval. So that'll be a different video. So read this. Unfulfilled loan contingency. Then reach out to me. Alright, we're going to be using FHA. That's like most buyers. VA, that's your veteran one. USDA, that's your rural. Conventional, that's your, they're a little cheaper than FHA. Well, it just really depends, but that's just another product. It's a little easier to get financed. Assumptions, seller carryback. And then that's about it. If it's cash, you don't fill any of this out. You just, at the top you say cash, right? Up here. If it's cash, you just, say cash to be deposited by buyer at the close of escrow. Period. Okay. Keep moving. Financing section, we did that. Right now we're doing like 0 concessions, right? If you want to win. Usually, typically in a 6-month inventory seller's market or market, it's 2%, right? So that's what we're used to. What it used to be, but now it's like 0. But if you can get some seller concessions in there, that's nice. Appraisal is usually bought by the buyer, but it is negotiable. So negotiate, but usually it's just the buyer. And then this is your escrow agent. This is, I love working with Stewart Title. Just putting that out there. In Tucson, and I got a good working relationship with Chicago Title in California. So just fill out that. You can reach out to me if you need somebody. And I do. I have good working relationships with title companies. So if you need a hand there, just reach out to me and I'll help you out. This is your 1978 section for lead-based paint. So you either provide the information, and then here you go. Premises were constructed prior to or later. This is where you sign, right? And do go back and remove, these initials. I think we're gonna have to speed it up here. So warranties, usually we put none because you don't want to make your buyer liable for anything. This is your sewer section. And you know what? We're gonna have part 2 of this video because it's been 15 minutes almost. It's gonna cut me out. So this is part 1. We'll continue from the due diligence, section 6.